Hey guys, it's Michelle Swoons here for Half Stack Magazine, and I'm coming to you from my gym where I had just completed my 6-week push for progress, and I am making a lot of changes in my life. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it and open up about a little bit more about binge eating disorder and show you some ways that you can sort of take back your life, take control. I met Brian with Ultifit in Naperville in February, and I started the 6-week push for progress. It just was an opportunity that sort of fell into my lap, and I decided that I was going to start working out, like hardcore working out. So I literally went from the couch to this.
So my name is Brian Redard. I have been a fitness professional for about 10 years now, over a decade in the industry. I started out in Pennsylvania, and I was managing and the head trainer and head accountability coach of a fitness club out there, and I got a chance to start on the functional training side of fitness very early on in my career. We were definitely ahead of the game as far as functional training goes in the industry, and so for me it was very exciting. I loved working with athletes coming out of college, and then I got the opportunity to take that experience of athletic development and introduce it to adults and everyday fitness. So, that was really exciting to me, being able to dynamically warm people up, not just doing that old school stretching where you're sitting on the floor and cranking out a muscle. So I was really inspired at a young age to really make this my passion, my career, to really help others become better versions of themselves, not necessarily become the most elite athlete in the world, but just better than you were yesterday. And that's really the foundation of what Ultifit is and what I've created out here in Chicago and in Naperville. So Ultifit, I got the opportunity to move out here, which I'm extremely grateful for. I've connected with the owner of this business, which is Ultimate Ninjas here in the Chicago area. And my passion for obstacle training now has melded and met my passion for fitness. And so that's where Ultifit comes in. Now we offer anything and everything from general fitness, weight loss, and elite, obstacle racing training to the everyday adult. I really believe we're bridging the gap between the everyday adult on the couch who just really wants to get moving and that elite athlete. We train everyone from the overweight client to the beginner to fitness to senior citizens to Ninja Warrior athletes. And that's the beauty of what we've done. We create a culture where you come as you are, and it's you versus you. You're never worried about where other people are in the workouts. It's always just how hard can you push yourself. If you need breaks, you take breaks. If you can keep going, I'm going to push you to keep going. Really learning where your thresholds are, and that's how we get you better here at Ultifit, is just learning how to become a stronger, better version of yourself than you were yesterday. And so a little bit about myself. I've always been into fitness. I've been very athletic most of my life. And about 5 years ago, I saw American Ninja Warrior on television. At the time, I was just the head trainer of a fitness club, doing my thing, but I was like anyone else, getting a little bit sick of the same old routine that I was in. I lifted a lot of weights, and I did a lot of cardio. I was a big runner. I ran half marathons and all that stuff. But for me, I was always looking for that next challenge, that next big push to continue to get myself better, because I understand that your body adapts and you got to continually push the envelope. So when I saw American Ninja Warrior at the time, I was like, I think I could do that. And I got sick of telling myself I think I could do that, and I decided I was going to try, because that's what I preach to my clients is, set a goal and just go to work. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow. And in my case, I've been trying to get onto American Ninja Warrior for over 4 years now, and I've never gotten the opportunity. But it hasn't stopped me from training and pushing and getting better. I believe everything happens for a reason. Through that process, I did get accepted and invited to compete on an obstacle racing show called Ultimate Beastmaster, which is on Netflix. So that was a really exciting point in my life. It was one of those moments where I got the opportunity to finally prove that I deserve to be on that platform with some of the elite, obstacle racers or just fitness-based athletes in the world. And so I was on season 1 of Ultimate Beastmaster, and that was just a really eye-opening and life-changing experience for me, because it gave me the opportunity to now say, all right, I've reached one of my goals, but what's next? And so it really helped me set loftier goals for myself. And so starting this business, it's more than just creating a business, making money. For me, it's about creating an environment and creating a culture of let's become something special. Let's just be the best version of ourselves so that we can go out into the world and function as a better human being, make other people in our lives happier, because it all starts with us, right? So, that's really where, I'm coming from personally, and that's why I'm inspired to help, share the wealth of health. And so she's taking advantage of our 6-week Push for Progress, which essentially is an unlimited access. I call it like test driving the Ferrari, if you will, because I truly believe that anyone that takes that step, that leap of faith to come into the doors and try the program out is going to find that this is the fitness program for themselves, no matter what their goals are. And I think Michelle found that out pretty quickly. She came in and she was starting from square one. And what our program revolves around is the fact that no matter who you are, where you're from, you're going to come in and we're going to start you off with a progress test. I call them progress tests. Basically, it's a full body fitness assessment that I've created. We do everything from body composition, so we're going to start the test off with body weight, of course, but I'm very big on teaching our clients that the number on the scale is not what I want you to be focusing on. That's actually the last thing you should be doing. When you start a new fitness routine, when you start eating right, the last thing you should be doing is jumping on a scale and tracking your progress that way. There's so many other incredible things that are going on in your body, building lean muscle, burning body fat, becoming more mobile. All of these things we're going to show you. So during our progress test, not only do we do body composition through body weight, body measurements, and a body fat analysis through bioelectrical impedance, but we're also going to measure your body. So we're going to measure your arm, your waist, your thigh. That's going to help us track body fat. We're also then going to take you on to a mobility test where we're going to test the major joints in your body, your shoulders, your hips, your thoracic spine, and we're going to take you through a mobility test to see how does your body move so we can see if you're moving better. And then also we're going to test all of your major muscle groups, your push, your pull, your legs, your core, in a maximal effort strength test, because what we know is if you're not pushing yourself to max effort, you're not going to be getting stronger. So we test all of your major muscle groups, and then finally we wrap it up with a little conditioning test to track your maximal heart rate and see how your heart rate recovers as well. That's going to give us a really awesome full snapshot on a piece of paper of where you stand, square one, day one, full body. So you're not only looking at that number on the scale, because what's going to happen, Michelle here in the next week is going to wrap up with her final progress test. She's been coming 2, sometimes 3 times a week for 6 weeks. That's going to average out to anywhere to 12 to 15 workouts in total, and she's going to make some incredible strides. And so that's what we're trying to show people, is that it might not happen overnight, but in a very short period of time with a very short amount of effort put in, you can really change yourself and adapt. Your body will learn and grow. So, during those 6 weeks, you get unlimited access. It's on you to create your workout routine. You want to come 4 days a week? Great. You want to come twice a week? No problem. We just ask that you try to get here at least 1 to 2 times per week, and your body will adapt and show change. And for us, the 6-week Push for Progress has been incredible. Every single client that we've had join the 6-week Push for Progress has gotten some type of results. And in most cases, especially in females' cases, they're always looking at that number and they want that number to go down. We've had numerous clients where after 6 weeks of coming in 2 to 3 times a week, they're working hard, they get frustrated. Before they even start their final test, they come in and they're like, Bri, I don't know, I'm not excited to be here. I don't want to do this. I feel like I've been weighing myself and the number hasn't changed. And for me, I get excited when they tell me that, because I'm like, that's exactly why we should be. That's why you should be here. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because we're going to show you all of the other incredible things that are going on. And in most cases, those women, yes, they might have only lost a pound or 2, but they lose inches. They lose 1.5 inches around their waist. They lose a 1/2 inch in their arm. All of a sudden, I'm like, do you notice your clothes fit differently? And they're like, well, actually a little bit. Well, yeah. Well, what's happening is your body is incredible. We're going to build a lot of lean muscle on you, which is awesome weight. You want to build lean muscle, especially ladies. You need to build lean muscle. It's going to raise your metabolic rate, and it's going to help your body burn more calories throughout the day just by standing there. You're going to burn more calories sitting in this chair in 6 weeks if you build more muscle than you will without that muscle. So, it's just teaching people the process of becoming a better version of yourself through strength training, through exercise, and that's what the 6-week Push for Progress is all about. The main style of training that we do here at Ultifit is what is commonly in the industry called HIIT training, or HIIT, stands for high intensity interval training. I believe, in my mind, it's one of the best forms of training as far as best bang for your buck. That's why I utilize that style of training. We have 50 minutes to get it done. And so when you show up, I want to utilize that time as best as possible. We're always going to start with a really good dynamic warm-up. We get your body moving through functional movements, moving you down on the floor-based movements, and then getting up and moving, elevating the heart rate. And then for about 35 to 40 minutes, we're going to go through the workout of the day. You're never going to do the same workout twice. You could come every single day for a whole year and you will never experience the exact same circuit, which is really fun for not only you guys, but for me. I'm big on thinking about how will the client feel during one of these workouts. I don't like doing the same stuff all the time, so I don't want to make the clients do the same stuff all the time. We're always going to focus on the same major muscle groups, so we're always going to target every single muscle in your body, but through various training methods, medicine balls, TRX suspension straps. We're going to be moving some inanimate objects through ranges of motion that you may have never done before, but really what that's going to try to teach you is how we're going to become better versions of ourselves outside in the real world. You know, when's the last time you sat down in a chair with good posture and moved something really heavy away from your chest, like we do in the gyms these days? And it's rare that we ever do that out in the real world. So we're trying to translate the strength that you can utilize inside this club, outside of this club, in your real life. And so high intensity interval training is great because what it really means is you're just working various muscles to their thresholds, to maximal effort, in short periods of time with a structured rest time between, where most times you go to the gym by yourself, you do something really hard, your heart rate elevated, you're breathing heavy, you walk to the water fountain, you come back, you look at your phone, you talk to your neighbor. Next thing you know, 2-3 minutes have gone by, your body was ready to move again 30 seconds to 60 seconds ago. So we're gonna keep you on that strict pace, that strict structure, which is gonna kill two birds with one stone. You're gonna build lean muscle, and you're gonna burn calories and condition your heart rate at the same time. So that's why we focus on HIIT training here at Ultifit. Yeah, squats, one of the best lower body movements out there. You know, we're not gonna do a lot of backloaded squatting just because it compresses your spine a lot, but the squats are a very valuable move because it's our largest muscles in our body. It helps release a lot of great hormones and help us get stronger. Typically, when we squat, we want to focus on your range of motion, right? So how far down you're going. A big key factor in squatting that I always try to teach my clients is understanding that very first movement, which is opening of the hips, because a lot of times people think when they want to squat, they're just supposed to go straight down towards the floor, and they tend to shoot their knees up over their toes, which is really bad for your knees. So, you know, the big thing I always try to teach people is opening their hips up. So hinging through their hips first, building this angle, that's going to allow this posterior chain, our glutes, our hamstrings to start to activate, and then that allows you to get down. And I also like to ask people to wiggle their toes, so it shows me that they're back in the posterior side of their heels, and then up and close their hips forward. Michelle has gotten very good at these over the past 6 weeks. Michelle, you're going to open those hips first, right? Yep. Go ahead. Sit down, tap the box, roll those hips forward. Great. Keep going. When I first met Michelle, she was without the box, incapable of even performing one of these, even through a quarter range of motion without rolling up onto her toes and shooting over your knees, right?
Yeah.
And you were experiencing a lot of knee pain when you first started?
Yeah.
And are you experiencing the same amount of knee pain? Less?
Not in the squats, no.
No?
No. I feel like I built a lot of muscle like around my knees, so I'm not like, it's like they're not taking all the pressure anymore.
Yeah. So what's happened is you've built not only strength around the knees, the stabilizer muscles that are coming up all through your knees, ankles, hips have gotten much stronger as well. And you now properly know how to utilize your leg muscles and open your hips up. So good job.
Yeah.
And the next exercise is going to be our standard plank. You know, really great test of core strength. And not only, when people think of core strength, they always think of just abdominals or stomach muscles, when really we want to talk about this entire trunk here. You got your obliques and you got your lower back, right? And so the plank is going to work all of those muscles effectively. A few key things we want to focus on when we do a plank. You always, again, want your shoulder directly above the joint, so shoulder above your elbow. So when we're down here, we're going to make sure we're lined up nice and evenly before we press up. So we don't want to be leaning forward. We don't want to be building an angle back this way. The next joint we're focusing on is your hip joint. So the hardest part for most people when they do a plank is understanding how to actually contract their abs, right? So they typically just want to press against the floor with their hands, press against the floor with their feet, and they forget about this entire midsection, which is what we're actually trying to work. So the biggest factor here is not only pressing hard through your arms, pressing hard through your feet, but then sucking in and engaging, learning how to zip up your stomach and your abdominals, flattening out this lower back. So very commonly you'll get into this position and you'll typically see something like this, which is no good, right? We don't want to see that little arch in your lower back because now that's taking the load. We want to zip that stomach up to help flatten that lower back out and engage the core. I always tell clients, I'd much rather see your hips a little higher than your shoulders than ever have your hips lower than your shoulders, because that's when your lower back's typically kicking in. So again, a little higher is always okay. You know, you don't want to be building like what I call a teepee hut butt, where you're throwing that triangle. Yeah, we throw a blanket over you and the kids will just play all day long. All right, let's do this. Yeah. I'm ready. You ready?
This is awesome. I don't know.
That's what really matters.
I'm gonna do a high plank. Brian was doing a low plank.
Let's do it. Yeah, see? She's learning.
I cannot do a low plank.
High plank, not much of a difference. A little more anterior shoulder engagement, but still effective, still great.
For some reason, the low one is harder. I don't know why.
I think it actually does force you to engage your core a little bit more.
Oh, well, that's fine.
But all good.
All right.
All right.
Ready?
Yes. Core stays tight. Imagine you're trying to pull your belly button up through your lower back to the ceiling. Good. Zip it up and pull that hip up. Good, right there. Hold, hold, hold. Very nice. And again, in the very beginning stages of Michelle's 6 weeks with us, she was incapable of holding this for more than 2 or 3 seconds. And she already worked out today. And she's doing a great job. I might just take a seat here for a little bit. Oh, God. Yes. Love it. We're not gonna have enough time. Good job, Michelle. Awesome work. Next on tap, we're gonna be focusing on the standard push-up. You know, a lot of these movements, the rows, the squats, the push-ups, the planks, are very standard movements, but also can be done incorrectly very often. So we're gonna walk through a few quick tweaks, a few quick form technique things that we need to focus on here. And the very first is that when we do a push-up, you always want to make sure your elbow is going to stay directly above your wrist. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people tend to build some type of angle this way, this way, this way, okay? And that's really bad for all of your joints. We want to keep the pressure inside of all of your active muscles, not your joints. So by trying to always maintain your elbows above your wrists, that's going to be where we want to be. And people always ask me, should it be tight? Should I be wide? Again, it doesn't really matter. Tighter tends to be harder because you're using more triceps, but as long as you keep those elbows directly above the wrists, we're gonna be safe. Whereas if you go tight and do something like that, really bad for your joints, right? So we have a nice little red ball down here, it's Michelle's new best friend, because this is where we're gonna focus on getting all the way down to the ball. Again, that range of motion we always talk about. Because look, you could do push-ups up here all day long, okay? That's all good and you're still working your chest, but you're never gonna get stronger down here in that deeper range of motion. When you go lower into any strength movement, you recruit more muscles. And so our goal is to always be recruiting maximum amount of muscle fibers. And so that's why I force you to try to get down there, hit that ball. It's also the best way for us to track progress, because how else will we know if you're getting better, if you're cheating yourself on the reps, right? So Michelle's gonna line up. Michelle could not do one of these when we started with good form. Michelle also worked out for an hour this morning with me.
I did, and it was tough.
So
I'm talking like seeing spots tough.
Let's go.
Ready?
Yup. Core stays tight. You always want to keep your abs really strong. You want to try to drive your hips up with your upper body as you come up. So you're going to control down to the ball slowly. You're going to get there, and you're going to power back up. Core tight, core tight. And she is fatigued from this morning.
I cheated.
I swear she did one this morning, so it's all good. We're going to let her slide a little bit.
Wait. Let me try.
Oh, she's getting ready. Let's
Hold
go.
on a second.
She was hustling, you guys.
Okay, here we go.
Make that decision. Right when you get down to that ball, you're getting up.
Yep.
Okay? Core stays tight. Control. Down and go.
I didn't go down all the way.
Sorry, you were close. Down and go.
There
Good.
we go.
One more. Come
Another
on.
one, Brian.
Show the people what it takes. So that rep, okay, the rep when you want to stop, that's where most people don't get the most out of their exercise routine. And that's why having a trainer and having someone there to help push you on and get you through that last rep is where you're going to get your success, because it's those final few reps. Your mind is always going to fail long before your body. And so when you learn that and you really start pushing yourself through those thresholds where you go, all right, I'm done because that hurt or that didn't feel great. Well, guess what? Your body's probably capable of pushing yourself through, and that's what we're trying to teach all of our clients.
Ultifit, one of my biggest challenges, aside from like trying to get out of bed in the morning and getting here, was the food, right?
Yeah.
So I sat down with Brian and asked him a couple of questions, and he told me like really simple, easy changes that I could make that I want you to share with the people.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, exercise alone is not going to get most people to their goals.
Right.
Working out, building lean muscle does not directly correlate with burning body fat. So, for us to really burn as much body fat as we need to burn, you need to get your nutrition on point. And it's just the sad truth, but it is something you need to focus on. So when it comes to nutrition, the way I always try to tell clients they need to focus is you want to look at your nutrition as fuel for your body and not just food, right? I think a lot of times people connect food with emotional experiences, social experiences, and when you start training your mind to believe that food solely is, a purpose to help your body run effectively, that's one major factor that helps shift the way you look at and view food while you're eating it. So being mindful while you're eating is a very key factor. The second one is really just focusing on, your macronutrients and understanding that the body is a machine. So all our bodies know how to do is take what we give it, right? It doesn't control what comes inside of it. It just knows how to take what we put inside of it, process it, and use it for energy. And it has a system in place. So, the first thing our body's always gonna burn for energy is gonna be sugar. Sugar is the very first thing. That's why you could feed a kid a pixie stick and they're gonna go bouncing off the walls and they're gonna be crazy, they're gonna get a sugar high because our body always utilizes sugar because it's the easiest thing for our body to use. So our body goes, okay, it's here, let's use it. Sugar is also a very fast burning source of energy, which is why we crash from sugar. Next in line is gonna be carbohydrates. Sugar and carbohydrates pretty much turn into each other. So carbohydrates are also then going to be the next factor, next source of energy that our body burns. Problem with carbohydrates is they're a much longer lasting source of energy. That's why you've probably heard of carb loading. Marathon runners, elite athletes will load up on their carbohydrates the night before a race or before a sport, and then they have more energy for that event. Well, everyday adults, especially weight loss clients, if you're eating carbohydrates and working out, it's taking you a lot more time to burn through that carbohydrate store that you've eaten to then burn into what's next in line, which is our fats, right? And so everyone always hears the word fat and puts a negative connotation to it, when our body actually looks at fat and goes, wow, this is a very valuable source of energy. Fat is actually a very great source of energy. So your body doesn't take on sugars, carbs, and fats. Let's say you eat a meal that has all three of those things inside of it. Your body is gonna then say, all right, here it comes. We're gonna use sugar first. Well, yeah, you'll probably burn through that sugar. Problem is, if you've had carbs and fats, your body's gonna start utilizing carbs next. And then from there, the fat starts going down through your intestines and your body goes, wait, we didn't need this for energy, but it's a super valuable source of energy, so we're gonna go ahead and store this for later. And that's how that slow, gradual body fat starts to build on our bodies. And so to reverse that cycle, you basically gotta look at that chain, sugars, carbs, fats, and start chipping away at the top of that chain. So I told Michelle when she first started here, your biggest thing is gonna be focusing on removing sugars completely. So processed sugars, natural sugars that come from fruits all day long. I mean, no one really got extremely overweight from eating too much fruit, right? So don't worry so much about natural sugars. Our body burns through them more because there's fiber connected to them. So really limiting, almost cutting out all of your processed sugars and then limiting your carbohydrates. Not that carbs are super bad for you.
Right.
Carbohydrates, I told you there's a list of carbs that are really good. Your sweet potatoes, your rice, your couscous, your oats. All those things you can still incorporate, but it's those hard, complex carbs like breads and cereals and pasta. That kind of stuff you really want to try to remove. It does really no good for your body if your main goal is body fat loss. Not that it's unhealthy, not that it's bad for you. There's a lot of studies, wheat is great. Yeah, wheat's not bad. But wheat is not in line with your goals, which is burning body fat. So if your goal out there is to lose body fat, you gotta really try to cut out sugars, limit your carbohydrates, and from there your body will start turning into a fat burning machine.
Yeah.
So
I think it was like when he broke it down for me, it seemed like it was just easier for me to understand. So like really quickly, just some changes I made. Like I started, I didn't get no sugar in my coffee. So I just tried to cut sugars out of my coffee. I don't eat sweet anymore. And if I want to do a snack, I try to get fruits, protein bars, Atkins bars, because they're low in sugar, low in carbs, high in protein.
Yep.
And then if I do eat a carb, because I'm human, everybody.
Yeah.
If I told him I'm not eating carbs, Brian, he'd be like, stop lying.
I eat carbs. It happens. Yep.
Yeah. So if I do eat a carb, I try to do it in the morning, after workout, so then it'll help my body sort of repair and replenish. Obviously you need protein after workout, but
very smart.
I try to do those together.
Yeah.
Those are just small changes I made, and then I swapped out one meal a day with a salad. So next week is my progress testing. This week is my 6th week of the push for progress, and we're doing progress testing next week. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do another 6 weeks.
Yep.
And at the end of that 6 weeks, I would have been going for like 90 days or so. So we're going to have an event here at Ultifit Naperville. We're going to invite you guys to come and like check out the gym and hang out. We're going to have healthy snacks by Body Fuel by Dana. And Brian will be here for fitness advice, and we have a little surprise for somebody. So you can come and check out my progress, like Biggest Loser style. I guess
Reveal party.
Yeah, the ninja reveal party.
Yes, let's go.
And we're gonna just come and celebrate with us and have fun and I don't know, get to hang out, maybe climb some stuff.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna do some giveaways as well on our end. We'll be giving everybody who shows up some cool gifts and some good access to the club and all that good stuff. And for kids as well, so it'll be family friendly, so feel free to bring your kids out.
Yeah.
You know, obviously this is a Ninja Warrior training facility. We don't just train adults, we also do kids stuff. So feel free to bring the kids out and we'll have some good stuff for everybody that shows up.
Yeah, definitely. Healthy snacks, people. So,
See you there.
see ya.